Bonjour, this is Pierre from Pierre's Adventure, and today I take you to Yosemite. That's the Yosemite Valley right here, and you see El Capitan, and it's a very special place because probably the most famous landscape painter from the 19th century called Albert Bierdstadt, did one of his most famous painting, the Dome of Yosemite, that at the time I think sold for like $25,000. You can imagine in what it corresponds in 1865, and even there was a little crisis there because people were saying that it was a vulgar exaggeration, and Mark Twain even said that it was more beautiful than the original. So anyway, just to tell you about this valley, recently there was my friend David Hockney actually was here in 2010 and 2011. Painted the valley. So this is very magic place. I invite all of you to come and discover Yosemite and these beautiful lights and rocks and domes and the Golden River, and it's a very inspiration. It's great inspiration for painters. So go paint. Hello.
Hey,
So Jared, right?
Yeah.
But tell me, what inspired you in the first place? To do
The
this
Highline?
Yeah.
Honestly, I've rock climbed for 15 years, or longer than that now, 20 years, and slacklining was just kind of a natural progression from climbing. It was something we did on our off days, so we trained really hard to climb hard. And then you can't climb every day necessarily because you're exhausted. So on my off days, I would slackline. And then as I got better and better at slacklining, the natural progression is to go high, right? So once I got into highlining, it completely took over my life.
So what's the difference between slack and line walking?
So this is a slackline.
Okay.
Right? It is a slackline, but by definition, I would call this a high line because it's a high slack line, right? But if I rigged webbing from tree to tree this high off the ground, that's a slack line.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
So the webbing, this itself is a slack line.
Okay.
But because I rig it over this void, it's a high line.
Yeah,
right?
I can see that.
So,
and tell me, for instance, and we were talking earlier about Philippe Petit.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between slack and a wire line?
So that's a good question. So when you're walking on something very static, they have stabilizers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You put the wire across and you have stabilizer wires coming across, so that wire doesn't move side to side. So that's the main difference. There's no side to side movement, whereas this, right?
Yeah, it moves. Yeah, that's
there's a lot of side to side, right? I have to control that, and it's all in my arms.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a tightrope or a wire walker with a pole, all of the balance is right here.
So slack is a little more difficult then.
It absolutely is more difficult, right? The only thing, it doesn't take anything away from tightrope walkers back in the day because they did it without harness and leash, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the next progression. That's where I've taken highlining is to the free solo.
Okay.
Right? So I have 60 free solos where I walked without a harness and a leash. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, this line would be on my radar for a free solo, but because there's so many people, I don't do that.
Yeah, because it's
too much.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever question my intention, right? If I free solo in front of a bunch of people, then it's probably my ego that's telling me to do it, right? I'm getting some kind of rush out of showing off and performing to people.
So solo, you do solo more alone or with just a couple of friends?
Most of my solos are by myself. I do have a lot of solos with highlining buddies that are highlining with me, and they're confident in my ability, and so there's like no negative energy. They believe I'm gonna walk across as much as I believe I'm gonna walk across.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the other part of not free soloing in front of a bunch of people, because as soon as I untie my harness and my leash and I'm out there halfway, and you get a random spectator that's never seen it before, they walk up and they go, "Oh!"
Yeah, that can. Yeah.
I'm out there. I hear that.
Yeah, that's scary.
You know, or if like someone in the distance screams, I'm gonna hear that, and that affects me.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes me out of that Zen state of really deep meditation that I get into when I'm breathing out there and just focused. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. So tell me for memory, can you just tell your name one more time?
Jared Marvel.
And where are you from?
Jared Marvel, just like the comics.
And where are you from?
So originally I'm from Oregon, but I've spent the last 16 years in Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do that in the Grand Canyon?
Yeah. So I'm the leading pioneer in Arizona for highlines. When I started highlining, there was 2 in the entire state, 2 highlines.
Wow.
And I put up, in the last 8 years of me highlining, I've put up probably 60 highlines in Arizona, all over the state.
But when you do highline, all your highline are slack, or you do also highline with cable highline?
No, it's always
slack
webbing. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, like the reason there weren't a lot more tightrope walkers a lot of people just think it's because it's crazy, right? But like those guys that walked wires, they had a lot of money invested in their gear.
Oh, because it's complicated.
That wire's expensive. Like you can't buy 100 feet of wire for, webbing is like, it's still expensive, but if I was to make a setup for like a tightrope and the pole and everything, like it's a really heavy, like tightrope walkers require a huge team because you can't carry all your gear out by yourself.
Yeah, of course. And like at the World Trade Center, they had to have like a whole team
on both sides, right? Because like you can't physically move all that wire by yourself. It's too heavy, right? So they had to move it in a cart, bring it up elevators. I can throw my entire rig in my backpack right there and hike out of here, right? So my backpack, it's bigger than most. It's 110 liters, but I can fit my entire highline rig in my backpack and hike down here and rig it and have some fun.
All right. Thank you.